Hi everyone, William here with the Grand Duke Dmitri 1915 diary entry. I've got a really cool one today, a special one, a letter, excerpt from a letter that Dmitri wrote to Natalia Brasova. So I'm excited about that, sharing that with you. We are in July 1915, and our recap yesterday, we had an appearance by Misha, Grand Duke Mikhail Alexandrovich, and Dmitri was really delighted. And we had him spending time with another person he liked very much, the future godfather of his son, Vava Golitsyn, so Vladimir Golitsyn. And he made a quick trip to Poland, very long train ride, but he either stayed overnight or returned late at night on the same day that he'd gone there to the town of Sedlec in Poland. And while he was there, his favorite thing to do in Sedlec, apparently there was a very good candy store. So he not only went to the cinema, but went to the candy store. Okay, so let's dive in. The first diary entry is 19th July / 1st August. Baranovichi, morning liturgy, lunch, riding on the gray mare, meeting with Madame Soldatenkova, dinner, cinema, tea with Golitsyn and Soldatenkov. So if you haven't watched any of these before, Baranovichi was the name of the town or the city. It was a good-sized place in Belarus, where the Russian supreme headquarters was at that time. It would be moving. And yeah, it was a Sunday, so made sense in a way that Dmitri went to liturgy. He didn't usually. When he was in Petrograd, when he was at home, the only time he seems to have gone to church, to have gone to liturgy, was when there was some special thing, or when his sister kind of twisted his arm to go. She seems to have been a lot more conventional and pious, I guess you could say, or at least she made the effort to go to church regularly. Anyway, so yeah, aside from that, he's riding a different horse. He has his two male horses, Alberto and Tolstoy. He doesn't tell us the name of this horse, so maybe it wasn't his, but he specifies that it was gray and that it was a mare. Other than that, no need for comments. Pretty routine day. All right, 20th of July / 2nd August, Baranovichi, morning massage, lunch, bones, in my quarters, riding with Soldatenkova, letter to Brasova, dinner. All right, so again, fairly routine. I'm still trying to figure out if bones meant dominoes or not. Spent some time in his quarters. He seems to do a fair amount of that, although he rarely spent any time at home back in Petrograd. And this time he goes riding with Madame Soldatenkova. So yeah, they do spend a lot of time together. And here's the letter excerpt. Natasha and Alexandra sent me their transcript of 1915, and then this was footnoted, this excerpt from the letter of Dmitri to Brasova, but I need to let them know that I want the whole letter. But anyway, here's what we've got. From Dmitri to Brasova. I saw Misha here, and I was incredibly pleased. He touched me deeply with his kind and warm attitude, and when he left, I felt that a person close and dear to me had departed. He showed me your telegram with the information about the location of Lily of the Valley, and we had a good laugh. So this was very opportune for me, because I'm actually writing a section in my book right now that has to do with this nickname of Dmitri's. Landish was what he was called in Russian. It was Lily of the Valley, and it was given to him by Brasova, I suppose, because Lily of the Valley is such an exquisite flower. It's terribly poisoned, but it's also really beautiful and exquisite. Not usually a symbol of masculinity, but just, I think, just a symbol of the erotic that so many people saw in Dmitri. And you look at him in photographs, and he's a handsome man, but you don't quite get the impression that there was something special. But the people responded him to that way. So I think he must have been one of these people who photographs don't do justice, that he had a way of, he was very elegant. He was very sort of, royal in a non-snobby way. He really sort of embodied that. And so people have seemed consistently to have responded to that. And so Brasova gave him this nickname, Landish. And, it was something they kind of joked about, obviously, but he liked it, and he would mention it later in his diaries as something he was fond of. And right now, let's look at the letter. I saw Misha here. I was incredibly pleased. He touched me deeply with his kind and warm attitude. And when he left, I felt that a person close and dear to me had departed. Forgive me for repeating that, but it's so typical of Dmitri that he was just sort of in, he was just elated when people were kind to him and warm to him, and I'm not sure where that came from, because as I've said in the past, he was a likable guy. I guess it came from his childhood, and it just thrills him when people treat him this way that he interprets as being very affectionate. And so, yeah, go figure. He has this feeling that when Misha leaves, he's sort of, someone has gone out of his life temporarily, of course, who is very dear to him, and a person that he's close to. And he wasn't close to that many people, But if you remember from his 1906 diaries, the same sort of thing. When Misha was around, he kind of hero worshipped Misha, who was, I think Misha was born in the late 70s. Dmitri was born in 91. And, there was one time when he was 14 that Misha had given him a knife, and he lost the knife, and he let Misha know that he lost the knife, and he apologized to him, and Misha got him another knife. So, yeah, doesn't seem like they spent a lot of time together, and Dmitri is almost surprised to report to Brasova that they're close and he's dear to me. But yeah, anyway, nice scene. And now the whole thing about the name, Lily of the Valley, the nickname. So when he writes in his letter, he showed me your telegram with the information about the location of the Lily of the Valley. We can understand that, we can infer from that securely that Brasova had sent this telegram to Michael telling him, you will find Dmitri at headquarters. So couched in terms of, this is where to go to find Lily of the Valley, as though he was going looking for wildflowers. And we had a good laugh, Dmitri said. So very nice all around. And there doesn't seem to be any tension here as far as, him having spent time with Brasova in Moscow, where things got a little kind of flirtatious, unlike in Petersburg or Petrograd when they were fighting. Okay, anyway, we'll just go on briefly. The 22nd of July / 3rd August, Rovno. So he traveled to Rovno. Well, I should just read the diary entry. Okay. Rovno, morning Baranovichi, departure at 1 o'clock, dominoes on the way, Supreme Commander inspected the troops at the station, arrival at 9 o'clock, cinema, comedy, back at midnight. Okay, so trip to Rovno, in Ukrainian it's Rivne, I don't know how to pronounce that. and not a huge city, but an important one. So they went there, and this is interesting because when Dmitri has frequently been on the road lately, and I kind of just assumed that he was sent himself as a Romanov representative to these various places, but it's clear that at least in this instance, he was, it was Nikolai Nikolaevich, as Supreme Commander and as a member of the imperial family, who was going himself to Rovno, and Dmitri was part of the entourage. And while he was at the station at Rovno, even though it was late at night, the troops were drawn up and there was an inspection. And then after that, off Dmitri goes to the movies. There's no candy store apparently in Rovno, so he just goes to the movie, and this time it's a comedy, and this is the first time that he's told us anything about the movie, so at least we have that. And by the time he got back, it was midnight, so that was a long movie. Maybe he went to have a drink afterwards. So what do we have next time? Well, he will not be going back immediately to Stavka. He and possibly Nikolasha will be going to another town called Vlodava, and there will be some important officers there. So, yeah, I hope to see you then. Hope you enjoyed the letter, and I will see you next time. Bye.